In my 20 years of teaching composition, there are 3 common mistakes when forming sentences. Number 1, comma splice. Number 2, sentence fragment. Number 3, run-on sentence. The rule stated here is do not join independent clauses by a comma. A more common way of referring to that mistake is comma splice. Now, why do we use the word splice? Splice does not mean to split two independent clauses. It actually means to join two independent clauses. 2 real-world examples might be splicing 2 pieces of film in order to create 1 film strip, or splicing a vine to a branch to make 1 plant. Now, we do that often when we're creating sentences. We're putting together dependent clauses. We're putting together phrases. We're putting together lists. The proper way to join clauses and phrases and lists together is to use a conjunction. We learned about that in the previous presentation. The improper way to do that is to use punctuation marks such as commas, semicolons, ellipses, nothing. We don't use punctuation to join things together. We use words, and specifically we use conjunctions. So let's see how a common splice is used in everyday practice. Here we have a clause. Stevens's romances are entertaining. We know it's a clause because there is a subject and a verb. There is also another independent clause with a subject and a verb. So we have 2 independent clauses. How should we join them together? With an and. Instead, they are joined together with a comma. So we're going to strike this out. This is not the proper way to write a sentence. Here's another attempt at writing a sentence and using the semicolon. Now, there really is no reason in modern English sentence structure to use the semicolon. It's a little archaic, it's a little quaint. I have no idea why it still exists. I have no idea why it's still on our typewriter keyboard. Especially since it seduces writers of sentences into using it as a way of joining independent clauses. The same mistake is being made here that was done with the comma. We could call this semicolon splice if we wanted to. Do not write a sentence using a semicolon to join independent clauses together. Now, in the age of Twitter, we often see the use of the ellipsis. What is the ellipsis doing here? Well, it's quite obvious what it's doing here. It's joining 2 independent clauses together. It's functioning the same way as a comma splice, the semicolon splice. We could call this the ellipsis splice. It really is not the right way to write a sentence. We're going to strike that one out as well. Now, some people don't even know how to join 2 sentences or 2 independent clauses together. They'll just write a sentence with a subject and a verb. They'll write another sentence with a subject and a verb and won't even bother to put any type of punctuation. What is the glue holding this sentence together? Well, there is no glue holding it together, but we could write it appropriately by using the right way, the proper way to join 2 independent clauses, which is to join them with a conjunction such as and. If you do want to write 2 independent clauses, but you do not want to join them together, then the appropriate way to end a sentence as a complete thought is to use a period. Once you write a period, it's at the end of the sentence. The next word should be capitalized. Now we have 2 independent clauses. They're not joined together, but at least they're not joined together by a comma.